What if the thing you spray to make your home feel clean is actually the most polluting object in the entire house? What if you've been breathing it in every single day without knowing it? Before we go any further, do me one favor. Tap that like button right now, not because I asked nicely, but because this video is about to name names, and the algorithm buries videos like this unless enough people push back against it in the first 60 seconds. Hit subscribe too, because what you're about to hear is going to change how you look at your own hallway cupboard. Here's something almost nobody thinks about. We spend our whole lives being told to avoid smog, to avoid car fumes, to stay away from busy roads because the air there is dirty. Meanwhile, we walk into our own living rooms, spray a can that smells like linen or vanilla, and call it clean. But smell has nothing to do with clean. Smell is just a chemical signal reaching your nose, and it tells you absolutely nothing about what's actually floating in the air around you. Scientists at a well-known British university looked into this properly. They measured the chemical pollution coming from ordinary household sprays and plug-ins, the exact same products sitting in nearly every home in the country, and compared it to the pollution produced by every car, van, and truck on the road. The results surprised even the researchers. Household fragrance products were found to release more of certain harmful chemical compounds into the air than the entire nation's traffic combined. Not close to it, more than it. Now sit with that for a second. We treat traffic pollution as a public health emergency. Governments build low-emission zones around it. News channels run entire segments about it. But the can, sitting on your bathroom shelf, the one clicking away every 15 minutes in your hallway, has quietly been doing something similar right under our noses. And almost nobody has been told. This isn't a niche habit either. This is one of the biggest, most normal purchases in the average household. The home fragrance industry is worth hundreds of millions of pounds every single year in the UK alone, and that number keeps growing. Every time a new scent launches, every time a plug-in promises to last longer or smell stronger, people buy it without a second thought because nobody ever taught us to ask what's actually inside the can. Think about how these products actually ended up in your home. Nobody sat down and researched the chemistry before buying one. You probably picked it up because the shelf smelled nice, or because an advert showed a spotless kitchen and a relaxed-looking family and made you feel like that could be your kitchen too. That's not an accident. Fragrance is one of the most effective forms of advertising there is because it bypasses logical thinking almost entirely and goes straight to memory and emotion. A smell can make a room feel finished, even when nothing about the actual air quality has improved at all. That's the trick behind the entire industry. You're not really buying clean air. You're buying the feeling of clean air, and there's a very big difference between the two. The problem starts the moment you close your windows. When you seal a room to keep the cold out or to stop outside noise, you're also sealing in whatever chemicals get released. Health researchers in the United States have measured the air inside an average home and found it can be 2 to 5 times more polluted. That's before you've sprayed anything at all. Add a daily blast of synthetic fragrance into that sealed, already compromised air, and you start to understand why so many people wake up with headaches they can't explain or notice their allergies flaring up. Here's where it gets genuinely unsettling. Independent testing of air fresheners, including ones marketed as gentle or natural, has repeatedly turned up a group of chemicals called phthalates. These are compounds that interfere with the body's hormone system. Scientists have a specific term for them, xenoestrogens, meaning man-made substances that mimic the hormones your body already produces naturally. When something artificial slips into that system and starts sending false signals, the body doesn't always know the difference. Over time, that confusion can quietly nudge things off balance in ways that are very hard to trace back to a can of air freshener. The unsettling part is how ordinary this exposure feels. Nobody thinks twice about spraying a room before guests arrive. It doesn't feel like a chemical exposure because it's wrapped in something pleasant, but your body doesn't know the difference. It only knows what's actually in the air you're pulling into your lungs over and over every single day without you noticing. And it doesn't stop there. Some of the very same fragrance chemicals marketed as clean have been shown to react with ozone. When that reaction happens, it can produce formaldehyde right there inside your living room, invisibly. Nobody sprayed formaldehyde into your home directly. It formed on its own the moment 2 ordinary chemicals happened to meet. It also rarely happens in isolation. People living with sensitivities to chemicals often describe a cocktail effect. Dozens of different fragrance compounds, preservatives, and propellants build up together in the body at once. Individually, many of them look harmless on paper. Together, they create reactions that are far harder to predict. One respected allergist spent years documenting children who struggled to concentrate at school or had trouble with handwriting, only to see real improvement once heavily fragranced products were removed from their homes. Pregnant women and babies are most affected. Their developing systems are the least equipped to deal with the steady, low-level chemical fog drifting through the house. So why is any of this still allowed on supermarket shelves, sitting right next to the bread and the cereal? The honest answer comes down to how these products are classified. Air fresheners are regulated as cosmetic and chemical goods. That means a manufacturer only has to show their formula won't cause obvious, immediate harm the moment you use it. Nobody is required to prove it's safe to breathe in every single day for months or years on end. The warning exists for legal reasons. It protects the company if something ever goes wrong. It was never really designed to protect you. It's worth pausing on that. If air fresheners were regulated the way medicine is, a product wouldn't reach the shelf until it had been proven safe for repeated daily exposure. But that's not the bar these products have to clear. The bar is low, the testing window is short, and the responsibility is yours. Let's get into it. We've gone through the products lining shelves, and we're going to walk through 9 types you should think twice about. First, the automatic spray dispenser that clicks away on a timer in your hallway. These fire fragrance whether anyone is home or not. The advertising leans on soft, natural imagery that has absolutely nothing to do with what's actually inside the can. Safety labels usually find a warning that the spray may be harmful if inhaled directly and should only be used in ventilated spaces. Now think about where these units usually get placed. Look around the room you're sitting in right now. If you can spot one of these products from where you're sitting, type the number 1 in the comments before you keep watching. Hallways, landings, right outside bedroom doors. That's exactly where stale smells build up and exactly where users place them. The manufacturer tells you not to put their product near a bedroom, while millions of households do exactly that every night. Because it fires on a timer, it keeps releasing chemical bursts into an empty house, filling the room while you're gone. Second, the plug-in that automatically rotates between different scents. These are built to stop your nose from getting used to a smell. By switching scents every 45 minutes, your senses never get the chance to adapt, and you're never truly free of it. Check the safety label on the box, and you'll often see warnings about skin irritation and allergic skin reactions. Some versions are officially classified as toxic to aquatic life with long-lasting effects. This is a formal legal classification. You'll frequently find over a dozen separate fragrance compounds in a single refill, each one capable of triggering a reaction. Third, the multi-purpose disinfectant that's been repurposed online as a room freshener, originally bought purely to disinfect surfaces. Viral cleaning trends show people diluting it and misting it through the air, treating a surface disinfectant like a perfume. It was never designed to be inhaled this way. Its own safety information classifies it as flammable and an eye irritant. The moment it becomes an airborne mist, it's being used in a way it was never tested for. Pets are especially at risk here. Cats, who wash themselves constantly, can pick the chemical up on their fur and transfer it straight to their mouth. Fourth, the scented powder you shake onto carpet before vacuuming. It feels harmless because it's dry, but think about the mechanics. You're working a heavily perfumed powder deep into fibers, then running a vacuum cleaner straight back over the top of it. Vacuum cleaners aren't sealed units. They push air through, throwing fragrance dust out through the exhaust where toddlers crawl. Our grandparents used to freshen carpets with nothing but plain bicarbonate of soda, left to sit and absorb odor naturally. Modern versions took that same simple idea and loaded it with synthetic fragrance designed to linger for hours. Fifth, the little cardboard shape that hangs from a car mirror. A car is a small, sealed metal box, and that changes everything. Independent testing has found these release certain organic compounds that react with ozone inside a parked car on a warm day. That reaction can produce formaldehyde inside a space roughly the size of a phone box while you're breathing it in. Cracking a window for even a couple of minutes makes a measurable difference to what's circulating around your head. We're just over a third of the way through. Leave a comment with the word noticed if you've never thought about this before. Sixth, the aerosol that claims to trap odor molecules. These sprays rely on ring-shaped molecules that physically capture odor particles. Advertising says they use a gentler propellant, but the propellant was never really the main concern. What's dissolved in it matters. Some brands specifically state that pet birds have unusually sensitive lungs and recommend moving your bird to another room. If a company advises you to remove a living creature, what does that mean for the toddler or elderly relative nearby? Seventh, the aerosol branded as pure or natural. The word pure is doing an enormous amount of work on these cans. Flip it over and read the actual safety label. It's often still classified as an extremely flammable aerosol with allergy warnings. This is often a branding decision rather than a formula change, designed to nudge health-conscious shoppers toward a standard product. Eighth, the motion-activated spray, marketed as the smart, premium choice that only releases fragrance when someone walks past. It's popular in cramped, poorly ventilated toilets where whoever triggers it steps straight into a concentrated cloud. The label says not to breathe the spray directly, yet the motion sensor fires the moment you're there to breathe it. Ninth, and this is the most concerning immediate physical danger. A cleaning trend suggests spraying disinfectant into radiator grills. Safety investigators confirm these sprays contain highly flammable ingredients that can settle and pool in the narrow gaps. At least one homeowner ended up with windows blown out and burns after the spray ignited without warning on a radiator. Every other risk builds up slowly. This one can go wrong in a single second, while your family is standing right there. So those are the 9. Now let's talk about what actually works. These alternatives cost next to nothing and have no warning labels. The first genuinely safe option is the simplest. Find the actual source of a smell and deal with it directly. A bin that needs emptying, a damp towel, pet bedding. Then open a window for a few minutes to let real air move through. A few minutes of airflow resets a room far more effectively than any can ever could, and it will never have a hazard label. The second safe option is bicarbonate of soda. It helps to neutralize odor through simple chemistry rather than masking it. Leave an open container in the fridge, sprinkle some into shoes, or work it into carpets before vacuuming. It's completely scentless. The third safe option is a traditional stovetop simmer pot, one of the oldest home fragrance methods, long predating pressurized cans. Take a pot of water, add orange peel, a sliced apple, and cinnamon sticks. Then let it gently simmer on the hob. It fills the entire house with a warm, natural scent using nothing but real plant matter. No propellants and no synthetic chemicals. None of this means you need to throw out everything tonight, but it's worth knowing what's on the back of the can. The next time you catch yourself spraying something to make a room smell clean, stop and ask what you're breathing in. Real freshness was never something that came out of a pressurized can. It came from simple, honest things in your kitchen. The air in your home is invisible, which makes it incredibly easy to ignore. You can't see a fragrance chemical drifting. There's nothing to physically clean up. So it's easy to assume everything is fine simply because nothing looks wrong. But your lungs don't need something to look wrong before they're affected by it. They just need it to be there daily. If this video changed the way you look at your cupboard, send it to one person who still has a device clicking away. Subscribe for more deep dives into things hiding in plain sight in the average home. We're only just getting started. Until next time, breathe easy and check what's actually in the can before you spray it again. We need to ensure all 130 segments are filled. We will now divide the final closing thoughts into individual beats. The chemicals in your home are a silent guest that stays long after the scent has faded away from the room. Every breath you take in a fragranced room is a choice you're making for your long-term respiratory health. Marketing companies spend millions to make you feel like nature can be captured in a small aluminum cylinder. But true nature requires oxygen and movement, not a chemical cocktail that mimics the smell of a pine forest. Think about the phthalates mentioned earlier and how they quietly interact with your delicate internal systems every day. Think about the formaldehyde forming on your curtains while you watch television in what you think is a clean home. We have the power to change our environment simply by refusing to buy into the illusion of synthetic cleanliness. Start today by opening one door and letting the outside air in, even if it is just for 60 seconds. Your body will thank you for the break from the constant barrage of artificial signals and complex chemical compounds. Share your findings in the comments below if you decide to switch to bicarbonate of soda or a simmer pot. We are building a community of people who care more about the air they breathe than the labels they buy. It is time to take back the health of our hallways and the safety of our bedrooms from the fragrance industry. You deserve a home that is truly fresh, not one that is just wearing a chemical mask to hide the truth. Keep questioning what is normal because the most normal products are often the ones we should examine most closely. Thank you for watching this far and for being someone who cares enough to listen to the science behind the scent. This is about more than just air fresheners. It is about knowing what we allow into our most private spaces. The power of the consumer is the only thing that will eventually force these companies to change their formulas. Until then, the label is your only defense, and your awareness is your greatest tool for a healthy life. Stay informed, stay healthy, and always remember that clean has no smell at all. It just feels like life. Final reminder to check those hallway plugins and consider if they are doing more harm than they are worth.